A very good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Brief right here on Channels Television. I'm Jeffrey Ozama.
Well, the family is back in one piece and we're grateful. And January is 6 days old already. Can you beat that? Well, we're trying to wrap our heads around it in a good way to welcome to your perfect morning starter on Channels Television. I am Bukola Koka.
And I'm Kayode Okikulu. I would have put on my green jacket, but I thought about it. It would be too much of an outlier. But I tell you, the blood on my inside is green right now. I mean, congratulations to the Super Eagles.
Absolutely.
Fantastic work against Mozambique. You know, there are matches you want to say, okay, we'll win this match, definitely, but you have to be careful as well, because there are no minnows in football. There's no small team anymore. It's 11 versus 11, and you never know what may happen. So we approached that match with some cautious optimism. Because you remember our World Cup qualifiers, how we had lots of hopes we'll top this group, we'll win all our matches, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen, not going to the World Cup. But it is exciting to see the outcome of yesterday's match on the field, 4-0 in favor of Nigeria Super Eagles. I know that there were other talking points, but I want us to focus on the win for now. They will now talk about the talking points, because I bet you didn't see this coming, did you?
Not at all. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see
the scoreline, 4-0.
I didn't see this coming. I didn't see the match itself.
That was actually my question.
So, I'm not ashamed to confess it, but the scoreline sends, you know, pleasant emotions down my bones, and I wonder what you know is responsible for this. Is this, you know, sometimes adversity is good. Failure to go to the World Cup seems to have fired up the Eagles in you know, hyperlative energy, and they're delivering. This is about the 4th match, and we've been recording victories. This particular one, the Super Eagles did not concede even half a goal, and for that we're grateful. I don't know if it also has anything to do with this you know, very good to watch jersey. You know, it's very attractive from the pitch as well, and you know, I'm so excited. Jeffrey is the most excited. Jeffrey is always positive, even when...
I am very excited.
Yeah.
So they were very consistent. If you watch them, they were super consistent. They played their game. Mozambique, to be very fair, is not quite a big deal, but when it's at the AFCON, you cannot rule out any club. So it was absolutely necessary that we built on our 9 points, where we emerged from the group with 9 points, came to this match. So psychologically, we were fired up, and now we're even more fired up with 4 goals in our advantage going to the quarterfinals. So congratulations to Eric. Congratulations to the boys who came to the game to do what the boys know how to do. But it's still early days, because as you go in and go further, it's getting tougher and you know, more difficult. So we hope that they are going to maintain this particular momentum. So Mozambique, for me, the fear I have is that when you win like this against a very, not too much of a strong team, don't go into the next match with too much of overconfidence. So take each match, it's a case-by-case situation. So we hope that this is good psychology for them. 9 points, 4 goals against Mozambique in the round of 16 to the round of 8, which is called the quarterfinals. We hope they are going to deliver. But as you said, I'm super excited. When I was on PoliticsToday yesterday, I did announce that I'm going to watch this match. You know, so because I love victory. One of the things I like about football, I wanted to be a footballer first. Then the second part is that is one point that everybody's united, literally. I even said that the terrorists, they kind of wait for whatever happens at the pitch. You know, everybody's just happy to see victory. So we're grateful to the boys, we're grateful to the coach, we're grateful to everything, for everyone who played a key role to make sure that we recorded this particular victory. So up next, we're going to get ready for the next match. But sorry, South Africa, they're on the way out, they're on the way back to Joburg. This is not their time. So congratulations to neighboring Cameroon, who have actually done their bit. And I must also say big congratulations to Mali. Shocked everyone, literally. I think Tunisia is heading back home at the end of the day. So
who
surprises.
After this,
we'll find out after today.
After today's match, yes.
The quarterfinal is on Saturday, and as much as we're celebrating this victory, we must speak to what played out yesterday on the pitch. Nigeria's star Victor Osimhen literally stormed off just right after the match. He didn't celebrate with his colleagues, and that sort of left a bad taste. So you could see that as much as he wanted to celebrate, there was still that sour point. And what happened? I think at some point he was really frustrated that he wasn't getting the supply. He had 2 goals already. Nigeria was up 3 goals at that point. So I think it was at the time Bright Osai-Samuel was moving forward, and Osimhen was right there in the middle. So it could have been a cross to Osimhen. You know, he's very lethal in the air. But Bright Osai-Samuel decided to take a stab at goal, and then, of course, we ended up losing that that particular opportunity. I should say again, Nigeria was 3 goals up. Osimhen had 2 goals already. And then after that, there was an outburst from him saying, come on, you should have given me that ball. Come on, let's... I mean, he had scored 2 goals, so that would have been his hat trick. And I think Ademola Lookman approached him. I'm not sure what was said, but some people said, he said, well, you have 2 goals already. And he was saying, well, it's a team sport, right?
Absolutely.
Let's do this together. But then things spiraled. The captain, indeed, he approached him. That's approached Victor Osimhen. Osimhen wasn't having it. In fact, it took Mozambican players to come separate the fight, in quote, but Osimhen was not having it. He, just said, I don't want to hear it, and he literally just stopped, participating in the game. In fact, he said to have asked the coach to sub him at that point, which, of course, after Eric Schell took him out, and eventually Osimhen left. He didn't celebrate with the players. But here's the point. A lot of people have different takes about it, saying Osimhen shouldn't have that kind of attitude. It's team sport. At the end of the day, we won. I mean, you can't score all of the goals. But I think the lesson to take out of this is, first off, Eric Schell has a big problem on his hands. He has lots of high flyers in that team. We have 2 complete 11s in that sense. He can choose not to use this 11, and he can fall back to the subs, and he'll still have a good team. So everybody wants to show how good they are. So that's a big headache for him, which is a good headache, I should say, the fact that we have good players. But secondly, is the fact that I think there's actually a point in what Osimhen did. I don't like the attitude. He could have handled it better, particularly because it was in front of everybody. You can handle it backstage. So the attitude wasn't quite good. But I think the lesson for all of us is we shouldn't be wasteful. Right, as a people, as a nation, we should not be wasteful. Let's try as much as possible to make the most of all of the things we had. To be fair with you guys, Nigeria could have won that game 9-0. I mean, you saw all of the chances. So to that extent, I support Osimhen. If you think that you don't have, clear sight on goal, lobby to someone who can. And I think it's the way we use our resources as well. We have a lot of crude oil, so let's use it anyhow. We have a lot of human capital, let's use it anyhow. So our efficiency is about maybe 50%, when we could actually be doing 90%. So that is my takeaway from this. Honestly.
Kari, beyond not being wasteful, another message that is quite important is that, the team is on one side. The enemy is the other team, not the green. The green is supposed to be one family, and this certainly comes as a surprise, because after the last game, which the Super Eagles also won, I recall Cecilia celebrating the team and commending the exceptional team spirit deployed to creating the set pieces that got us the goals after that match. So when there is discord in this particular game, then we should be asking questions of what may have transpired in the minds of the Super Eagles individually, and of course collectively as a team. What is going on, behind the scenes, behind the doors in the dressing rooms of the Super Eagles. And to support that, you do have a very important point that Eric Schell has a job of work to do in uniting the Super Eagles such that they do not see each other as enemies, but of course as members of one family who must defeat the other enemy in that sense of the word, not necessarily enemy, but the opposing teams. Absolutely. We want to bring the trophy home, and if we're fighting over who gets the ball in the net, then we're not ready yet.
Football is a game of passion, and people like Osimhen, who is passionate about being quite lethal, I can understand where it's coming from. But you must also understand it's a team sport as well. So the way you manage the atmosphere around the team, it commands a lot of respect, not just among the players, but across the country. So you must remember, right now, Osimhen is a leader, not just as a footballer. He can influence a lot of things on and off the pitch. But he has to manage his temper properly so that it doesn't spare his good intentions. There's a way you can actually pass across your message without making it quite embarrassing for your teammates who may be looking at you in a certain way, because it's a team sport. Osimi has actually done a lot of assists. Lukman has done a lot of assists as far as this tournament is concerned. Yeah. So I can see in fact, there was a particular one. It was on the run. Just a through pass would have done the damage, or like this close to damage, but he didn't see it. If you know Osimi very well, if he's at a vantage position and you don't give him the ball, he literally gets frustrated. Yeah. Well, he's young, he's growing, he's going to grow out of it. But for now, we will just manage him. But he should check it, he should watch it. His outburst online has actually shown you the fact that, look, he may have a bit of a temper problem. But what is bad is bad. He didn't act responsibly, respectfully to his players, and I think he just has to apologize to make them understand, look, this is a game of passion. Yeah. I was just passionate that we could do even more, but I'm sorry for whatever will happen. So I'm just happy that they are doing what they can, but everybody must realize that no one is more important than the other person. It's a team game, it's a team sport. Well, as I agree with Kyle, Eric Shell has good work to do. At this level of football, when you're a coach, at this level of football, you're not teaching people how to play football. You're now managing talent and skills, temperament, and all of that. That's why they are called managers, not necessarily coaching. Now, what are you coaching them? They've been playing this thing for literally all their lives. So, but wisdom well, Sime, we love you, but hey, guy, calm down, okay? Calm down so that everybody will be happy. Right.
Absolutely. So big ups to the Super Eagles. Quarterfinals on Saturday. We'll wait to find out who will play against. But hey, what more do we have for you on the program today? Well, Rivers politics is a big one right now. It's always been big, but it has elevated itself onto another level in this 2026. There's a third person in the picture who you do not see, and that's one of the chieftains of the All Progressives Congress, APC. So, Governor Fubara of the APC, Minister Wike of the PDAPC in that sense, Ajibola Bashiru of the
They call it the Rainbow Coalition.
The Rainbow Coalition, right? Because we saw him with both chairmen of the APC and PDP in Rivers State yesterday.
No, let's contextualize. Yeah. Former factional PDP, now a merger joining, it's just a conundrum.
So it's better to just try to keep it simple.
Confusing.
So what exactly is playing out now? He had said that he is not going to go down. He won't be involved in anything politically suicidal in that sense. But the governor is forging ahead. The party he's in is supporting him. So we'll help you make sense as much as we can of a situation in Rivers State today.
Well, there's a lot more to make sense of, and it's the state of nation. When you consider quite a number of things happening, from defection to insecurity to the interventions of the federal government, and how the gains are coming through, and at the same time there are challenges. So we're speaking to a latest defector, pardon my language, on the program this morning, for want of better description. And it'll be interesting to know his thoughts on Plateau State politics and, of course, politics at the center.
And from there, we will be talking governance in the sector called education, the cornerstone of every society. The student loan scheme has been praised and applauded by literally everyone to be quite a good scheme. But how can it be optimized? How can it be sustained? We'll bring in a guest, a scholar, an engineer who understands how this thing works. We'll break it down right here on the program. And of course, that's the outlook for the program. So we're looking at politics, what we call the conundrum. It looks like the more you look, the less you see. But we know what is going on. Our job is just to highlight exactly. I used to tell Kayode and Bukola, as long as they're not killing themselves, I'm good for this game. I love it. So we're going to look at all the elements of what we're dealing today, state of the nation, politics, and education. But for now, we'll be back in just a moment to bring in our guests who will help us make sense of what the headlines are saying. Join us in a moment.
Welcome back, and it's time to make sense of the headlines on the front pages. And Mr. Adeni Ifetayo, our public affairs analyst, joins us from our Abuja studio. Good morning and welcome, Mr. Ifetayo. All right, we hope that the audio will get better along the way, and we'll be able to hear you. But we can see you already, Mr. Ifetayo, and I'm sure that you've been also waning from where you are on a lot of the talking points, particularly the most recent victory of the Super Eagles and the event that played out on the pitch. So perhaps we should start from there before we begin unpacking the papers.
Yeah, congratulations to Super Eagle, congratulations to all Nigerians because we are cheering for them. And also congratulations that they were able to skate through to the quarterfinal. But of course, a disorganized team is an already disadvantage to the opponent. So I just hope Osimhen keep his cool in as much he's hungry for more goals, in as much he's hungry for more victory. But it's a team, and you need to play together as such. And if you notice something, you don't hammer on it until your co-player is demoralized. And if you notice, immediately after that, it was as if Osimhen was isolated or isolated himself. He does not fight for the ball again, and that might cost us in case of next time. But congratulations to them and the coach. They get the job done. Nigeria is rooting for them, at least if they can bring back the cup, because I'm rooting for them to bring back the cup to console us for not participating, or we don't know, in World Cup. As it stands, we are not going to the World Cup, but let them bring this one, let them bring it back home. And Osimhen should keep his cool. No player is bigger than the team, no player is bigger than the country, and he should just keep his cool and let them play together as a team. If you notice anything, make your complaint and let's flow.
All right, so let's begin with the Guardian newspapers, and there's a huge talking point from the lead story on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Let me quickly look at that before I talk about the other side to it, which I'll also want you to respond to. Tax reform risks sluggish, uncertain execution timelines over tardy. I believe NSW is National Single Window because of the numerous security agencies that had been involved or engaged in revenue collection. There are concerns over harmonization. But beyond that, Mr. Adeni, I wonder if you've begun to experience, concerns with what you transfer and what taxes will be deducted and what you will be tagging your transfers, especially since January 1. Maybe you also want to share your experience in that regard with us.
Of course, in as much as we're being told that you need to be very conscious about the description of each transaction and all of that, of course, I've been reading up about the new tax reform that took effect from January 1st and tax some support, loan repayment, or if you are giving out loan, logistics, etc., etc. Of course, salaries, you don't just do something now, you will do it with intentionality. So it's everybody's job to make sure that they do the needful when it comes to tagging. But I just felt that the information has not gotten to those at the grassroots level. I've been in a place, a woman was plaiting someone's hair and said, why will the government go to take our money? We wasted the manage. And I had to educate them and say, Madam, if you earn a salary, that is below 800,000, you are not going to, government, they are not going to take a dime from you. So I felt that the government still need to take the campaign, the reorientation to the grassroots level. They can do it local government by local government, in each state, in all the 774 local governments in Nigeria. So that
a sovereign country of about 30 million people, what more beyond what has already been done in Nigeria can the United States, execute? And what's the role, really, by the way, of the United Nations in all of this. And this brings to mind that very, very damning speech of the US president during the UN General Assembly last year about the United Nations. Speaks very low about the role of the United Nations in ensuring democratic stability of institutions in different countries of the world. Guys.
Indeed. So I see we have Mr. Fatayo back. Mr. Fatayo, we've gone quite a distance, but let's just backtrack a little bit for you. Front page of the Vanguard newspaper, speaking about terrorists abducting passengers on a busy Kwara highway. It's 2026, and I'd almost think that this headline or this story is from 2025.
Yes, I think it's high time we have, maybe we want to call them road marshals. Maybe they are going to use national civil defense. Maybe government can say for every 10 kilometers there is a spot there or a station there in case of any emergency, because the next 3 or 5 minutes to any emergency determines the outcome of whatever it is that is happening. And of course, they can start with some of those states that have been identified that some of these terrorists or kidnappers are having their ways once in a while. And of course, they should deploy if they need to employ, or if they need to recruit, or the words to say, they should do that. And with the local vigilante, or with the local, we are talking about state police, we don't know, we don't have that in sight now. So those are the things that the area that they can be useful. And of course, the government, they need to do more and to secure the lives of Nigeria, whether you want to travel by air or by road or by any means. We should feel safe in our community. We should feel safe in our environment. We should feel safe on the high road. And I heard you briefly talking about Trump set sight on Greenland, threatening Cuba and Colombia and Mexico. I'm just praying that the little time he had, we can just like Jesus prayed, let this cup pass over us, because the way he's going about it, he might escalate it to something else and create more enemies than making friends and all of that. And also is a learning for our nation, our leaders who also want to sit tight on the power, especially in Africa. Sometimes whatever it is you think you are doing, people are clapping for you, or sycophants are clapping for you. You will do it and you get out of hands, and somebody might hit you from the back. So whatever it is he has planned to annex Greenland and all of that, you should respect some sovereignty of every nation. I overheard you saying, what is United Nations saying? It's better you make peace with US, because United Nations, I stand to be corrected, they are not coming to do anything. Russia will not help you. China will not help you. Depend on the way you can, get yourself a soft landing. So those are the things I can say about it. Let government secure our highway. If you need to recruit, if you need to use National Civil Defense Corps, maybe they will be in every 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, let there be a station, especially in those states that are having challenges, from North Central, from Kwara, to Sokoto, to KB, to Borno, and so that everybody can feel safe, even if they are operating in their local government or in their own community.
Well, just for mention, quickly, there's also that story on the front page. Over 33% of Nigerian immigrants in U.S. live on public benefits. That's well, a list that Trump put out of all the nations that are present in the U.S. and just the percentage of those citizens of the nations, the immigrants from those countries that live on public benefits. Now, while this might seem like a lot, China is 32%, right? In fact, you have countries that are doing 70% and all. So it shows that for majority of Nigerians, they're not really depending on handouts as much in those countries. They're really doing the work, putting in the hard work, and contributing to the economy of those countries. So to put it in proper context, if Nigeria is doing 33%, China is doing 32%. So not that bad in some sense. Jeffrey.
But it's also a signal for those that are being captured in that 33% that, hey, look, Trump is coming for you. So just get your your act together before it becomes too late. And you know, with Trump, he can just wake up and say that you know, those that are depending on this public facility or public support or whatever it is he call it, he's going to put a stop to it, and nobody's going to hold him back. But it's just a signal for them that something is coming for them and they should get their act together.
Indeed, and I wonder if that's also an unspoken or a veiled message for Nigeria as well, especially when we look at recent happenings. But beyond that as well, we can also see some pressure applied by the security agents. For instance, the front page of this Nigeria captures this one. Army rescues 13, recovers 27 bodies in Onguru boat mishap. We also hear about, you know, terrorist strike in Borno, where about 28 terrorists are neutralized. But we must anchor at this point. We'll definitely be looking at that in the coming days. And thank you very much, Mr. Ifetai Adeni, for coming on the newspaper review segment and bringing your insights into the discussion. Mr. Ifetai Adeni is a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here once again.
And when we return from this break, we'll touch on politics in Rivers State. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's get started with the ever-intriguing, never-ending politics of Rivers State. And those at the vanguard of it. Let's bring in our guest. Darlington Nwauju is one of the spokesperson of the APC in Rivers State, as well as Ambrose Okpo, Chairman, National Youth Council of Nigeria, Rivers State Chapter. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, Darlington, let me start with you. Now the pressure, the political pressure or tension is expanding in that sense. Before now, we've never had things at the national level of the All Progressives Congress. But now I said maybe the music, the political music is changing to a literal war song. Well, the war has been on in Rivers State as far as the politics is concerned, between Nyesom Wike and similarly Fubara. But I want you to maybe respond to what has played out in the last 24 hours. Now, I think one of the rallies, I saw the video of Nyesom Wike talking about the 600 billion because Governor Fubara said he left 300 billion in the coffers. When the emergency rule was declared, after Bokete Bass left, he came and met 600 billion. And he's been having loads of visits, solidarity, and all of that. Well, Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, has taken a swipe at some of those visits and visitors, and even saying that the 600 billion is what they are scrambling for. Well, the APC scribe, Mr. Bashiru, he said, no, we will not sit by and watch you talk to us the way you're talking to us. As a matter of fact, he's saying that the governor is now in the APC. If there was a decision, perhaps, not literally putting it that way, but me paraphrasing, whatever had happened between you and him, maybe when he was in the PDP, that's a different matter altogether. But now he's in the APC. We will run our party. You cannot be dictating and dabbling in, because we can look at our records. You're not there. In fact, his last phrasing was the fact that Nyesom Wike should resign as FCT minister because it's causing problem for the APC-led government, and they don't want him to bring PDP problem into APC. How do you interpret what is playing out?
Well, clearly, I think that our national secretary has stood up for once. It's been a while we heard from any member of the National Working Committee speaking truth to power, saying things as it should be regarding the affairs, the runnings, the activities of APC in Rivers State. Do not forget that over a period of time on this platform and other platforms, I've made several complaints and allusions concerning the style of leadership of the past chairman of our party, the national chairman, the former national chairman, Ganduje. And I said clearly that there is no way the party can be attempting or making an attempt clearly to invite ant-infested firewood into the running of the APC in Rivers State without inviting the lizards. And so today, I am glad that we have been, our stance have been justified with the fact that our national secretary, who is in position to talk about, to churn out the policies of the All Progressive Congress in Nigeria, has made a very clear statement. Persons who are non-members of our political party have no business dancing around the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State. Persons who are non-members of our party have no business dictating to us how the party should be run in Rivers State. And so we align ourselves, we share the sentiments of the National Secretary, because this should be the position of the party as far as the APC in Rivers State is concerned. The APC now has, a sitting governor in our midst. And by the force of our own very convention, by our own practice as All Progressive Congress in Nigeria, the governor automatically becomes the leader of the party in Rivers State. Do not forget that on this show, on the 16th of September last year, I had in fact invited openly the governor to join the All Progressive Congress. That was 2 days before the lifting of the state of emergency. And so there is no way that a non-APC member can be dictating to the APC how to treat or how to associate with our governor, who is now a member of our political party. So we completely align with the position of the National Secretary, which I think should be the position of the National Working Committee of the All Progressive Congress in Nigeria.
Let's take it to our next guest and bring your Ms. Ambrose. Let's talk about what you also make of what is playing out in Rivers State in that sense. In fact, I now hear a term called the Rainbow Coalition, what we refer to as the PDAPC. So Mr. Chukwuemeka, who is pro-Wike, and Mr. Ewo, who was pro-Fubara, have now, merged together and are now with Wike. And then Mr. Okocha, who has always been a loggerhead with people like Darlington, have always been with him. So he calls it the Rainbow Coalition. And now it looks like this Rainbow Coalition is causing too much wahala in that sense, as we say it in Nigeria, now that the APC is saying, they are simply saying, back off, with literally asking him resign through the National Secretary. Go ahead, Mr. Ambrose.
Okay. Thank you very much for bringing me here. No doubt, the recent political rascality in Rivers State is indeed worrisome. And of course, I'm a youth leader, so I will narrow it down on how it affects the development of youths in Rivers State. The political rascality is getting tough every day. There is complete breakdown of governance, but so far, the governor of the state refuses to give ears or attention to rhetorics. Rather, he has been busy delivering the dividend of democracy to the Rivers people. Rivers youths are fixed in a tight corner where they are being used wrongly, fed wrongly, manipulated by these persons who are eager for power. Rivers State shouldn't be a place where all the time being a kind of a playing ground for politicians. So at this point, Rivers youths are actually tired of all of this and want true governance to play in Rivers State. So far, we all witnessed the recent, I don't want to call it campaign, that the FCT minister actually has been going around the 22 LGAs talking down on the governor of Rivers State. There was a recent comment made by Victor Giadom against the office of the governor of Rivers State. And Rivers youth find that very, 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 very disturbing and insulting to the office of the governor. I know you didn't pick that, but I'm bringing that to your notice, where Victor Giadom referred to the governor as so-called governor. I mean, that is the height of it. Other states have been calm. Political campaigns have not started, but Rivers State is heating up every day. So I think at this point, Rivers youths have also taken a decision to stand by the governor, support the governor, and ensure that the governor delivers the mandate that we have given to him, to the people of Rivers State. Timely.
So what does this mean in real terms when you say that you're going to be supporting the governor? We've seen the FCT ministers rally, as you said, and yes, we did refer to those words that were made, which is what has spiraled into this, because Senator Ajibola Basiru was responding to that, and then the FCT minister back and forth. But what does that mean in real terms? And that, I think that is one of the concerns, that everyone is at daggers drawn now, the knives are out, and it looks like this might start heading to a place that we don't want it to head to. So what does that mean, this support, in the real sense? Does it mean, well, come what may, whatever it takes, you're going to support the governor, or is there a democratic way to go about this?
If I hear you clearly, you mentioned support for the governor, right? And I want to reiterate here that the support for the governor by Rivers youth has always been there.
No, pardon me. So let me reiterate my question. My question is, what does this mean, this support, what does it mean in real terms? It looks like everyone is at daggers drawn, the knives are out. We don't want this to degenerate. So does this mean, this support you speak to, does it mean whatever it takes, come what may, whether it is peaceful or otherwise, or is there a democratic way to support without it spiraling into violence? That's my question.
Yes. Just like we know we have a peaceful government. So the youth of Rivers State have been peaceful. As a matter of fact, the governor never wanted violence. So the support for the governor is organic.
Right.
It's organic without any form of distraction.
All right. I just wanted to...
That's why you see that the state is still calm. The state is peaceful, right, because the governor is still or continues to enjoy the support of Rivers people. Not just only Rivers youth, but Rivers people. Okay. That's why you see everywhere is calm and there is no violence of any kind or counterattacks from the part of the youth.
People have a right to choice. That is why it is called democracy. People have a right to choice. People must be allowed to decide who governs over them. You cannot make any decision anywhere on behalf of Rivers people, over 6 million Rivers people.
All right, Mr. Nwoju, let's bring in Mr. Nwoju. Let's bring in Mr. Okpa. Mr. Okpa, Mr. Nwoju has talked about the agreement that has always been the issue. Agreement is agreement, in the words of Nyesom Wike. That's what he always preaches. We were not there in the room, but now we're getting to see and hear what those agreements are. At least these are the ones they want us to know, because I'm sure there are other agreements they will never tell us. Perhaps it's not in the interest of the public, it's just in their own interest. But let's look at those agreements critically. There is nothing binding, as Mr. Nwoju has said. There's nothing legally binding. As a matter of fact, the governor has a right of first refusal. But what Nyesom Wike is raising is the issue of sticking to your words, sticking to integrity, abiding by what you agreed to. So it's a question of morality. that twice now he's gone against what they agreed on. Isn't that a valid position to take, the political class, as far as this issue is concerned, driven by Nyesom Wike?
Okay, what kind of agreement are we talking about here? How can you reach an agreement with the governor at the detriment of the Rivers people? In what way would that agreement benefit us? When we are all in this stage, we have heard the FC minister vow not to partake or disturb his successor, his successor, yes. And now you can see him fighting day and night. I don't think the governor of Rivers State is his personal governor. So you can't come to Rivers and impose an agreement, a kangaroo agreement.
Mr. Akpa, just a moment. Just a moment. Mr. Akpa, just a moment. If you can hear me, can you hear me? Can you hear me,
yes.
sir?
Yes.
Now, we're talking politics now. Just purely politics, without speaking for Nyesom Wike. He's made a point that similarly, Fubara was literally no one politically, and I don't think that is debatable. Nobody really knew him. It was the accountant general of the state, so he's what you call a political neophyte in that sense. Nyesom Wike brought him, and he said he did a lot of negotiation, trade-offs to be able to say, look, let this guy run for governor, because there are other big politicians in the state within his region, maybe the riverine area, who wanted the same position, but was able to prevail on them to say, look, give these people a chance, give this gentleman a chance. So in that sense, he played a key role in bringing the governor rather, to limelight, to where he is today as governor. Now, that is his premise, because when people counter him to say, without speaking for him, I'm just bringing the logic here, because now people are saying, who is he to be deciding who is going to be reelected? Yes, the people, of course, the people are supreme in that sense. But he's talking about the role he played in bringing him in, and now this has happened. He feels he has a role in also deciding the future. I want you to look at the entirety of the context to make your submission.
Okay. In Nigeria politics, somebody must bring you, somebody must recommend you, somebody must support you for you to emerge. That's not a yardstick to enslave or subdue that person to remain within your control forever. The FC minister was also brought by someone, the likes of the former governor of Rivers State, Dr. Peter Odili, played a huge role. Senator Bata played a huge role, and many other persons. So if he brought the governor, no doubt, he supported him, no doubt, he campaigned for him, yes. But what is the mandate? Is it for him alone or for the Rivers people? That's the question. So if you reach an agreement with him that is not palatable to the people of Rivers State, who have every right to say no, this cannot stand, because it undermines the well-being of the Rivers people, especially the Rivers youth. And that's why the FC minister today has lost total support from the Rivers youth, total support and respect from Rivers youth, because he's overheating it. Every dancer has no one to leave the stage. Every good dancer has no one to leave the stage. Yes. So as a matter of fact, we don't think this will stand. You can't impose it. It's not enforceable either. So agreement, no agreement, and all of that, I don't think it's a point to even talk about, because as far as we're concerned, he has not told us that agreement. We don't even know the agreement. So we believe that this agreement undermines the freedom and the division of governance to Rivers people. So that's why it can't stand.
All right. Let's take it to Mr. Nwoju. My apologies, Mr. Nwoju. So right now, I can see Tony Okocha, I can see Chukwuemeka, I can see Mr. Ewo, all in the camp of Minister Nyesom Wike. But right now, the national leadership, through the National Secretary, has been very blunt, straightforward, literally saying, back off, resign. If you're not comfortable, you're causing problem. We don't want problem here. We have a right to speak on as far as the membership, leadership, and structure of our party is concerned, this is not a Rivers matter. But that kind of gives your group a leeway to be able to come into the fray. Have you been consulted in that sense? The reason I'm asking is because if the national leadership of the APC is now against Nyesom Wike, if the national leadership of the is now against Nyesom Wike through the national secretary, that puts Mr. Tony Okocha in some kind of a difficult position in harm's way. That should give you some leverage. So what are you doing to pick it up and to work with the governor in this sense?
Well, let me say this, that it is not just the statement by our able national secretary that actually puts Mr. Tony and his group in harm's way. It is not. It is in fact the 20th of December 2024 judgment of the Rivers State High Court that puts him and his group in harm's way. And so these are legal issues lying before the Court of Appeal Port Harcourt Division. And until it is dispensed with, we'll keep on pointing to the fact that, hey, you cannot stampede the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the very Constitution of the All Progressive Congress, which has mandated, clearly made provision for how you must produce as executives of your party at every time, and that these the tenures of these persons are democratically and constitutionally guaranteed. So it is not about begging or giving us any leeway. We have remained in our party, saying the same thing over time, and we believe that the truth must prevail. I said it earlier on. You cannot steal the community drum and expect that you can steal it forever. You must try to beat it one day. And by the time you try to beat the community drum, the community will come after you. So the Constitution is clear. The judgment of court is abundantly and sufficiently clear. And so these are the issues, these are the nexus, or if you like, the plank upon which we have made arguments that, look, you cannot be dealing with persons who are known to law, persons who, at the end of the day, will put the party into trouble because whatever nominations they make on behalf of the All Progressive Congress will be nullified by the courts. And so it is what it is. And so we are not trying to massage anybody's egos at all. The National Secretary is on the right path with his statements and position concerning what is playing out in Rivers State APC. Because there is a governor who has officially joined the All Progressive Congress. And the party has every right to defend its own. In fact, it will be irresponsible and even reprehensible for the party not to defend its own
governor. Let's wind down on this, gentlemen, because of time. Pardon me, Mr. Waju. I want us to wind down on this. You cannot rule out the influence of the FCT minister at both federal and at the state level. I mean, we all know these things and it's glaring. But I'd like to know where you prefer him to stand in all of this. Would you like him to just join the APC, be in your party? Is that something you would very much appreciate? Or you prefer him where he is right now, outside of the APC, somehow in the APC as well? Where do you prefer him to be? And that's for both of you, gentlemen.
Yes, to answer that question, the truth of the matter is that political parties are open associations, they are voluntary associations. Even the Supreme Court has said so. And so it is for any adult citizen of Nigeria, you have right to membership and is guaranteed under Article 9 of our party constitution. And saying if I prefer him being outside of the APC and other, a lot has transpired, and you all know this. And these are things that have been entrenched into the memory bank of every individual that has been a member of the party from 2014 till date. We know what has happened to the APC in Rivers State. And so it's difficult to accept certain kind of things. But our decision is that whoever decides to finally join the All Progressive Congress, because it's a platform,
right,
and you have all manner of persons with different ideologies coming in. So it's actually a marriage of convenience, if you like. And people do not stick to ideologies. And that is why you see or you find the consistent inconsistencies with both their actions.
all right.
And
Mr. Wike,
their,
I think you've sort of
statements.
answered that question. You've raised your concerns at the same time. You say it's free association. Mr. Wike, finally, where would you like to see him play? Do you think he will be like a bull in a china shop, or the heavyweight that would improve the politics in River States, in the APC or outside?
Well, that's for the party. I believe if you want to join the political party, of course, it's free. It's a free entry. So if the FT minister plays in, joins the APC, that's okay. So if you also want to stay outside and run APC, I don't know how possible that would be.
All right. I think we can anchor at this point. Jeffrey.
Well, thank you both. Rivers is always an interesting conversation, and the coming days will absolutely be interesting. So we're on the lookout. Our eyes and ears are all over the place. Darlington Nwaju is one of the spokesperson of the APC in Rivers State. Ambrose Okpo is the chairman, National Youth Council of Nigeria, Rivers State chapter. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. From here, we'll take a break and come back to somebody we are very sure where he is. It's not uncertain where he is right now. We'll be bringing him in just a moment. Stay with us.
Well, the window is still very much open. I'm talking about the defection window. And the latest member of the APC is Honorable Dachung Bagos, a former member, House of Representatives, joined the APC yesterday from the People's Democratic Party, PDP. And he joins us live on the program. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Kaidi. Morning, Nigerians, and happy to be here.
Yeah, are you happy to be in the APC too?
Yeah, well, happiness is happiness, just like agreement is agreement. So wherever you are, whatever that have driven you into what you're doing should make you happy at that particular moment in time. So, absolutely, because of what my people want, I'm happy, Kaidi.
Okay, so let's get right into it. This is a party that you've been, in some sense, against for, I mean, your political journey in the PDP. But then you didn't return to the House of Reps. The court played a huge role in that. And some would say that you're one of the people that would be the diehard PDP member. If the ship is sinking, you would go down with it. Because of the kind of passion they see you having. And I recall that you joined your leader, Jonah Jang, where you spoke about the APC not having structure in Plateau State. You've raised issues about the APC even at the national level regarding insecurity, the killings in Plateau. So it's rather curious to see that you're now joining that same party. What changed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, first of all, Kaidi, it's not about the APC, but it's about the Plateau people. And you know very well, time immemorial from 2015 to 2023, thereabout, before the PDP got into power, you know, the battle and tussle we went in. And ours, for me in particular, that I stand with ideology, that ideology is above party lines. And I still stand with whatsoever opposition that we might have given the APC in time past. But who were the leaders of APC at that particular point in time, and who are the leaders of the APC at this point in time? And at the same time, who were the leaders of PDP when we were in PDP, and who are the leaders of PDP now that has gotten bad in the PDP that got us to where we are? So leadership changes, and when leadership changes, it comes with ideology. And that's why we are where we are today, that the ideology that we have seen now in the PDP is different from the ideology we are seeing even in the APC, that we have been driven by Plateau ideology, and there's a particular Plateau language that His Excellency Barrister Caleb Mutfwang, in line with the national chairman of the APC, who is a Plateau son, and at the same time, some certain reforms that has been the major problem of the Plateau person for the past 25, we have been battling upon the issue of insecurity. And if you had followed my conversation over time and conversation of other leaders on the Plateau in terms of insecurity, that what we have been conversing for, it's state policing, giving the locals and giving the local government autonomy to be able to handle the issue of insecurity. And this is a situation where we have seen that the APC, it's given us what we had been clamoring for. What a Plateau person needs today, it's that the issue of insecurity, it's been addressed. Once you address the issue of insecurity, allow a Plateau man can go to the farm and fend for himself. Plateau man can roam around to see that we're so industrious, to see that we boost SMEs and so on and so forth. So now that we have seen what we have been clamoring for the past 25 years, it's paramount of us as leaders to see that we support, to see that the issue of state police come into being. And coming into that ideological reforms, where we now find ourselves, even in the PDP, where we have been trying to manage the situations over years. You and I are so much aware what happened to us in 2023, that we were all removed. All the PDP structures were removed on the Plateau through the courts, and knowing very well what happened, just because of selfishness, elitist decision in trying to hold on to the party, no grassroots base, that has made us to suffer the structureless issues that were removed from the court. And instead of it that is being addressed, it's getting worsened. The younger generation like us, that we have seen that, look, this is a party that we have nurtured over the years. This is a party that we are looking at. Where are the younger generation that will be able to get into this party to give Nigerians the genuine opposition and what we really need to drive democracy into it? And by the way, you know that democracy is all about the people. It's not about party, it's about ideology, and at the same time, it's about having results. So where we are today, seeing that the younger generation, we don't even have a hope, and because the elites have hijacked the party, and godfatherism have played out, and it has become where we are today. And that's why, looking at what His Excellency Barrister Caleb Mutfwang has taken us, for me, to safe haven. And that's why I said, like, we are now in Operation Safe Haven, that, look, this is a very safe haven for us to be able to put in our ideology to see that we move forward.
Beyond advancing your ideology, I'd like to ask Honorable Bagos, in 2027, are you planning to return to the House of Representatives or seek a ticket for the Senate?
Yeah, well, as it is, I've been seeking for the seat of the Senate, and that's what it is, and it's still what it is at the moment.
All right.
And by the grace of God, we're going to clinch that if God allows us to be there as well.
So if that is certain and that has been clarified, is that what your defection is about?
No, not really. My defection is not about because I'm looking for the seat of Senate, or I'm looking. If I was looking for even the seat of councillor at the moment in the PDP, no person and no any right-thinking politician will be able to contest under the PDP at the moment. Primaries is just less than 8 months from today. And as a politician, in the next 8 months, you don't know the platform you're going to contest in, then definitely you don't want to contest any election.
So that is
so
what...
it's not about because I'm contesting for a higher position or because
Honorable
I'll
Bagos,
contest for any of these positions.
this certainly is not about your people. This is about your political ambition, because you just confirmed it. And during our last conversation with you, you did tell us about the uncertainty in building your political aspiration under the platform of the PDP. And you talk about your people that, you know, with the APC, they would have... you know, the opportunity to go back to their farms and all of that. A report I'm reading right now says about 21,000 Plateau indigents are putting up with families, friends, or in IDP camps following displacement as a result of the insecurity concerns in Plateau State. So that speaks to either the ineptitude of the Plateau State government or the federal government to handle the displacement situation in Plateau State. You've been a strong voice in Plateau State, but we have not been hearing you in recent times speak to this particular situation, Honorable Bagos.
Yeah, well, if you had followed, we just had 9 people killed in my own village last week, and we were there. We buried those 9 people. And what I'm saying here is that we have been crying for many years. And now, if we've seen that the solution that we have been looking for in terms of state policing, in terms of now we have a chief of defense staff, minister of defense, who was a former CDS, that now have an angle of solution to what we are looking for. Why shouldn't we support what we have been crying for? And why shouldn't we see that, look, must we always cry against the killing of our people? What are those possible solutions? And you and I have been on this platform time. What are those possible solutions? What are those areas? How can we be able to get our people out from IDP camps? How can we be able to secure our villages? How can we be able to ensure that our people live in peace? The solution, you know, that 2 cardinal points that we have been talking about for the past 20 years, and which I will still reiterate, even in the APC, that we should be able to get state police, and we should be able to have local government autonomy. And once those 2 cardinal points and 2 cardinal agendas have been realized, I can tell you, Mr. President will take the glory to see that Nigerians are being secured. So it's not about because it's APC. So whosoever was handling the APC in the time past and who is handling the APC now, have we, and as Plateau people, is that agenda entangled with our cry? I'll give an example with Benue that have been that have gone and been on a rampage for many years, from PDP to APC, PDP to APC, looking for leadership that will be able to address the issue of insecurity. And if we make a mistake to allow it to be there, that is because we are jumping party for ambition. No, definitely we are jumping party because of the platform that we want to give our people a voice, want to give our people leadership, want to give our people that, look, you can trust us to be able to address these very issues. We are not jumping parties because of sycophancies. For sycophancy, we are not jumping party because that this is what, no, we are jumping party because the PDP has failed at this particular moment, and it's irredeemable at this particular moment. So the platform that we see
if I may comment, Honorable Bagos,
for our own ideology is where we are today.
Yeah, if I may comment, Honorable Bagos, I don't think you need an ideology in that sense to solve insecurity or the problem. You just have to be a responsible leader. Any responsible leader in a democracy should handle issues around insecurity. So when people talk, I just need to lay that out. And there's no crime in running for whatever ambition. It's just that the way Nigerian politicians jump ship, which is bringing me to my question. I don't believe no member of the APC, PDP, Labour, NMPP, nobody, none of them, with due respect, can sit with me and tell me that this is their party ideology. I don't believe any party has ideology. And you've also held that you're going with your ideology. So what is this ideology, the APC, that aligns with your own ideology?
Well, we have been discussing the issue of ideology in political party. And if you want me to to rephrase the issue of ideology to agenda, well, that should be it, because the agenda that we have as a people is that, look, our cardinal major issue is the issue of insecurity here on the Plateau. The Plateau person who doesn't care which party you might stand for. The Plateau person, yes, have that bitterness against the APC administration because the issue of insecurity on the Plateau became worsened. But now that since the coming in of His Excellency Barrister Caleb Mutfwang and the coming in of the current president, which we have seen some level of that this is the solution that we have been looking for. That's why we are giving it a try that, look, let's get this way and painfully try to see how we can align to get the solution to our people in terms of insecurity. Those are the issues. It's not about the issue of because it's APC. And I can tell you, even if the APC today did not align with our own agenda, we will say it as it is. It's not because we are in APC today and the usual rhetorics that when you're on the table, you keep quiet. No, we are on the table to be able to get solution. That's just it. Where we are on the table is to get solution. Why we are looking for position today and trying to contest for position today is to get solution. Why we are in politics today is to get solution. Not that because we can't go to farm and get food for us to eat, for our plate, for our people to eat. Not that we can't get to the classroom to be lecturers and still get school fees for our children, or not that we can't go and get other jobs to be able to get. No, we are in this for solution. And we have seen a solution halfway as it is that, look, we need state police. We have seen a solution halfway that, look, we need local government autonomy. Apart from that, we are not interested in any political that because APC has now 28 states. No, that's not the agenda of a Plateau person. The agenda of a Plateau person is, look, our leaders, where is the solution to this insecurity? Our leaders, get us out of IDP camps. We need solution to those. That is what we are looking for. So any other discussion that because it's APC, well, I'm not part of that. What I'm part of is what is the solution to the challenges that the Plateau person is getting.
So are you saying by implication, so now we're expanding the conversation, are you saying that you believe that because the president is pandering to make sure that there's state police, first that is why you are aligning with the president's party, and that you believe that state police is going to be a resolution to what we're dealing with? Because Plato's case is a very complicated, if you backdate it, is a very complicated problem.
100%, Geoffrey. Because what is the reason that I will give my people that I want to get into the APC? That is because that is the APC and everybody is moving to the APC. No. I can easily get into any other party and get my elections, but then who will be able to canvass more support? What are we and how many of us are in will be able to get it to where we will be able to want to get that very solution? So that is why we are where we are today. Apart from that, apart from the issue of insecurity, that is not my concern. Apart from the issue of trying to get local government autonomy, because see, when you lump a lot of things on the table, you'll be so confused to be able to get a solution. But pick just two, pick one or two. Once you address one or two, others will fall in line. Imagine that local government autonomy come into place in Nigeria, and every local government in this country has a cottage industry that it can employ 100 or 200 people. That is halfway to addressing the issue of unemployment and underemployment among our youths. Imagine that we have the issue of insecurity by state policing, that the locals are now policing themselves. It has given room to address the issue of food insecurity. What again do we need on that that has to do with politics? So it's not governance is beyond party lines, Geoffrey. Governance is about what are those agendas on the table? What are those agendas on the table that you can make your people believe and understand that, look, this is the solution? And if Mr. President has re-emphasize the issue of state police, and our governors have now keyed into the issue of state police. If Mr. President have re-emphasized the issue of local government autonomy and to ensure that every state has local government election, in as much as it has not yet been perfected, that to have true, genuine local government election, which is one of the things that we are still looking at. Look, we want the son of nobody to be a local government chairman. We want the son of nobody to be this and that. Those are the issues. We want to see the youths that have never believed in politics to believe in politics.
You know, Honorable Bagos, you know why we're doubling down on this matter of state police, which is one of the reasons that you hinge your defection on, as you know, the legacies that you would like to secure through your membership of the APC for your people, is because it's been long in coming, especially from this particular APC government, right from the last administration, and it is yet to become a reality. And so it's hard to, you know, take in that this is enough reason for defection, especially because you have been a strong voice of the opposition in the last decade or so. But I'd like you to take you up. Pardon me, I'd like to take you up on your position that we want our leaders to take our people out of the IDP camps. I'd like you to be specific on the leaders you are asking that responsibility for, because the wife of the president did donate funds to the people affected by attacks in Plateau State. And the people of Plateau are still asking for the disbursement of those funds from the Caleb Mutfwang administration. Besides that, we also know that there's been an increase in allocation to governors, yet we have thousands of Plateau citizens who have been displaced as a result of attacks. So are you calling out your governor for not addressing this situation satisfactorily?
Yeah, well, I don't have full information at my disposal in terms of what was given, because I'm not part of governance. I'm not any of the commissioners or any of the political appointees. So I don't have preview to those informations. But definitely, if I have those information and the right thing has not been done that needed to be done, why not? I know the governor is someone that has a fear of God and someone that takes transparency to the highest level of it is, as it is. But questions need to be asked, to be asked, because anytime we demand for accountability, we'll get transparency. So once this information are on the table, why not? We'll be able to ask, okay, how much was given and where it is. And again, we have seen efforts practically from how our people are being returned to IDP camps and to their own ancestral homes. Let me tell you, my community that was attacked last week was a community that were recently returned to their ancestral home, because that community were ravaged. Most of them were in IDP camps. So if that was part of the process, well, kudos to the governor. But I can tell you, the community that was attacked, they were just returning to their own community after so many years, because it's an inside interland. So if that was part of the process of returning our people from IDP camps into their own villages through the process of what the governor got, we applaud that. But I can tell you, I don't have information on that. But the practical one that I know is that is in my village, and those people were just returning to their own place, and suddenly they were also attacked. So
and this
if
is
that was part of it, fine. But then I can tell you, I don't have much information to that.
Right.
But,
and this is something we're closely monitoring, Honorable Bagos, and because of time, we have to anchor, but thankfully you're in the APC now, so you get access to that information. I will always follow up on that. Just quickly before we go, when the history of Nigeria is written, particularly for this period, and just in case the fears of some people come to pass, those who fear that we're tilting towards a one-state, a one-party state, would you like to be one of those names that will be mentioned as those who participated in making Nigeria a one-party state, should the fears of some come to pass?
Yeah, well, I believe in democracy, and democracy is about having diverse opinions and having, at the same time, diverse associations and political party. In as much as I'm the APC now and Plateau is APC, I don't support one-party states. In as much as we still have other parties in positions alongside, what I want is that, look, let democracy strive. Let give a voice to democracy.
And
so
that's
I
a great
want
place to
history
anchor,
to take note
Honorable.
Right,
pardon me, because of time, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. But we're totally out of time. Clearly, this is a conversation and engagement that will continue. But we have to thank you so much. It's interesting seeing you flying the flags of the APC now. We've been speaking with Honorable Dachung Bagos.
Well, it's interesting that you see me flying the flag of Plateau being driven by the APC.
All right, that will be interesting to see. Thank you for your time, and wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Well, we'll take a break from all of that politics and talk about the policies that come out of the politics, particularly the student loan. There have been some major concerns raised about the student loan, the outcome of it, the way we're handling it. What exactly are the issues? Find out in a moment, so stay with us.
Welcome back. So let's turn our lens away from politics to scrutinizing policy, as Kadi said, which is a product of our politicking. And one of such is what Jeffrey describes as the poster child of this administration, the student loan policy. And, you know, frankly, there have been quite a number of criticisms trailing that policy, one of which came, you know, towards the end of last year, being that Nigeria churns out, you know, about 600 to 1 million graduates annually. But, you know, the policy has only been able to reach about 500,000. But a check on the website now shows that the policy has reached about over 800,000 applicants. So is there progress? Or there are other ways to tweak the student loan policy such that it can really fulfill its purpose? Let's have this very important conversation. And joining us now, right here in our Lagos studio, is Dr. Tunde Shodade, is a management consultant. Good morning and welcome to Channels Television. Welcome to the Morning Brief, and Happy New Year to you, sir.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you, and good morning, Lagos.
Now,
Nigeria.
Lagos first.
Yes, Lagos first before Nigeria.
Reading through your article on how this can be better, it's quite compelling. You talk about graduate employability to enhance the capacity of, you know, the applicants or the graduates eventually to be able to pay back. I'd like you to articulate that point of view, you know, with provisions of clarity about how you think the student loan policy can be better deployed, you know, to meet its purpose.
Okay, thank you very much again. And first of all, I'd like to start by paying respects to how we got this far, because this policy was conceived, it was the bill was drafted, it was enacted, it's actually even been reviewed. And right now it's being implemented through NELFund. And I tell you something, I respect everybody in that chain, from the person that conceived it, because it was long overdue, through the sponsorship of the bill, the legislature, and now we're in the hands of the NELFund, the executives. And really, when we have this kind of discussion, right, it's more about taking your responsibility as a citizen, right, and maybe stimulating some kind of public discourse that would shape policy, because this is what happens all over the world. You know, when you have bills and laws, they're not static, right? It's feedback from the public that makes them hit the target. So to your question, I want to start with the objectives, right? The key objectives of the NELFund initiative, right, is to expand access to higher education, reduce economic exclusion, especially amongst the underprivileged, and to democratize opportunity. And I want to be the first to admit that this is being met, right? So this discussion we're having is focused on how to make it get more bang for our buck, because we're all taxpayers, right? And our money is being deployed towards this. So to my mind, I believe that if you look at the statistics, you'll see that most of the recipients have been either university graduates or university students. That's about 90%. That's huge, right? About 6% are College of Education students. And then you have the balance roughly being polytechnics. And this really does not address our needs as a nation. Because if you look at our macroeconomic situation, right, you would agree that Nigeria is bleeding more forex from the importation of technical skills and even the exportation of the few fit-for-purpose academic graduates that we have. So I think we need to tweak this a bit. And luckily, the new amendments to the bill actually give it a bit more expansion, where you can accommodate, you know, technical schools more than it was before. So I just want to bring attention to the fact that, look, what we really need in this country, right, are technical graduates. We even at the very, very low level of building a house, if you go to any site in Lagos now, you'll probably find a Togolese tiler or a Ghanaian bricklayer, you know, because truly one area where I think we have dropped the ball as a nation, right, is perhaps the unconscious stigmatization of technical education, which I believe should really be the fulcrum of any nation's development.
So we've read through your article,
yes,
and it's quite compelling. So what I would like you to do within the time we have, because of the shortness of time, so that we can build questions based on it within the time we have, is to run us through some of those things you've itemized as what you've observed to strengthen the entirety of this students' loan scheme.
Okay. So when you see a student loans program, really, it should focus on graduate employability. That's the first thing. Because there's no point in giving a loan to somebody who, when he graduates, is going to struggle to get work. It leads to bad loans. And as such, if we're really serious about making this fund sustainable, right, we have to make sure right from the inception that those that get the loan have the highest opportunity to get jobs, potential to get jobs. That's number one. Income generation is a thing. And then the state's economic needs. These are three things that I think we need to focus on a little bit more. A lot of countries use these to actually shape their policy and shape their trajectory. You know, Australia, the UK, Germany, Canada, South Korea. I mean, there are so many different models out there. But the truth of the matter is that if you're going to be spending state funds on any initiative, right, then the state itself must get something out of it. And one of the things that I'm hoping that the state will be able to get, it hurts me every time I go to a project site and I see that a majority of...
And you're an engineer, so
I'm an engineer, yes. And I see the majority of the intellectual force on that, even physical force on the site, is foreign. It's just not acceptable any longer. Then secondly, we have to recognize the fact that technical education, right, is more easily absorbed into the job market than academic qualifications, right? A technician, right, is closer to being an employer of labor than a white-collared graduate of, I don't want to mention any discipline, but we can talk of all kinds of disciplines, who at the end of the day is going to be at the mercy of some employer. He can't even employ anybody. We have universities that are struggling in this country. Almost all the federal universities, there are 140 federal universities. And quite honestly, the federal government alone cannot be expected to fund these universities. And we are talking about, they need physical assets, they need equipment, they need labs, they need even their lecturers. They're always going on strike, right? So if we're channeling a lot of these funds towards universities, because that's what the data tells us, right? And we know that in all likelihood, the students are getting a sub-optimal type of education. Does it really make sense? I think we have to renew it. Now, I appreciate the fact that a lot of what we're talking about, right, is easier said than done, because I'm sure that those that are in charge of implementing this scheme, right, must be facing a lot more challenges and constraints than maybe some of us see. But at least I think that if we start talking, right, some of these ideas, right, will not be so strange, and somehow some kind of political compromise can be reached. Because I don't know for sure what Mr. Akintunde Sawyer, for example, or the Honorable Minister for Education, I don't know the kind of maze that they have to go through to implement this. But I'm happy about one thing. The law, the act has been expanded, and everything that needs to be done, at least in the first phase, right, can be accommodated within the act.
And you've raised vital points. I think everybody should actually read this. You raised a point that, you see, Nigeria is not suffering from a shortage of degree or degree holders. If there's anything we pride ourselves in, is that Bali. You carry it around, and sadly, a lot of them have to put it in, paper bags and search for jobs. Lagos, Ibadan, with very little success rate, right? But what we need more, and you listed it: electricians, welders, carpenters, masons, plumbers, fabricators, HVAC technicians, mechatronics specialists, subsea welders. I kind of like that. It's cool. Tool and die technicians, agricultural processors, and renewable energy technicians. These are skills that are in chronic supply right now. And you made reference to TVET. A lot of people may have heard it or not. And it even shows how much of a work we have on our hands, technical and vocational education training, which is something we can, it's like a low-hanging fruit, literally. But speak to the mentality, because the average parent or guardian, when you hear mason or plumber, in fact, they don't even think blue-collar job, they think, that's what you want to go and study in school. No. Exactly. I'd rather send you to a university, even though we don't have the money, we have to rely on student loans. So there's also that mentality thing. So maybe we can help people link it and see the end, which may help them justify the means, or at least the start. So is there a way we can also work on that? Because if university is getting almost 90%, that's a big challenge.
It is a big challenge, and there's a lot of work to be done, and it's interministerial. I think that there's an opportunity here for some kind of public enlightenment program, deliberate and intentional, right? First of all, removing the stigma that is associated with technical education. I tell you something, I lived abroad for a very long time. The first time I attended a high school graduation of one of my sons, and they asked all the graduates to come on stage and tell the audience what their next move will be. I was shocked, being a Nigerian, when a large percentage of them came up and said, yeah, my name is XYZ, and I'm going to graduate, and I want to go into, I'm going to go and learn how to be an electrician. I want to be a plumber. I want to be, and I'm telling you, they did. And some of them will tell you that it makes more sense. So to be able to do things with your hands. In some countries, like Poland, for example, right, it's almost a thing of shame for even a surgeon not to have a trade.
Ooh.
Yes. So when the Polish want to renovate their homes, I'm going to call my friend the doctor who is an electrician. He did that.
On the side.
On the side. I'm going to call my friend, the astronaut, who is a carpenter. We're going to have a barbecue. We're going to open some beers, and we're going to do it all by ourselves. It's almost a thing of shame for you not to have that. I think we have to go back to that kind of thing.
Makes sense.
There's a lot of need for national discourse on this matter, because yes, I hear you, Kylie. I mean, you talk about it's my younger brother, for example. He went to school. He graduated, but he's a plumber.
And it's probably making millions.
Yes, and he told me he likes it. He likes the freedom. He's an insurance professional by education, and you know, we always regarded him as that man in the family, for but he's holding his own.
And I'm sure his work is very neat. He's
very, very busy.
I
wish I had those. I wish I had
those skills.
Those skills. I don't, unfortunately. But I don't want our youth, right, to miss out on this opportunity. Besides, there's more opportunity to reach more indigent people through this means than just
and your prime theme of graduate employability does tie perfectly into that concern that the graduates that will come off of the student loan scheme because of the concern of lack of employment, where are they going to get the funds to pay back the loans?
Absolutely.
And we should be looking at this document that you have put out. But we must anchor at this point, and thank you very much.
And we hope the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, was here a few days ago. I'm sure he will see this as well.
Well, if he sees it,
we'll make sure he sees it.
You know, the interesting thing about this is that the people
we just have 30 seconds.
The people that are involved, both the minister, the CEO of Telfund, they are all very, very progressive thinkers. So they're not going to see it as
it isn't an attack.
It isn't an attack.
Let's look at a percentage.
Just
what can the percentage be? University, polytechnics?
Well, without any data, because I like data-driven decisions, right? I would say at least 50% of those funds should go to technical and vocational, 25 because we need teachers, to education.
And I think we'll respect your position because you're a civil engineer, so you are inside, so you get to see. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Be a part to Dr. Tunde Shedade is a management consultant. Thank you so much.
He's an engineer and a scholar.
Thank you very much.
And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your company. I'm Jeffrey Ozama. Bye-bye.
There's more to come on Channels Television. Sunrise Daily is up next. Thank you for being there. I am Bukola Koka.
Nothing wrong with being a plumber or electrician.
Yeah, I got to let
It's actually good money, right? I'm tired of you. Have a fabulous day ahead.